Namaskara. In the last class, we started with magnetism, went to electromagnetism and further to electromagnetic induction. I will just brief as to what all we did in the last class. As and when the conductor carries current, it produces flux. The direction of the flux produced can be determined by going for right hand rule. In order to increase the flux, generally it will be coiled, in which case the flux produced will be more. And here, whenever it is coiled like this, it's generally called as a solenoid. The core of the solenoid, or the core here, which is nothing but the inner part of the coil, can be air or any magnetic material. As the permeability of the magnetic material goes on increasing, the flux produced by the solenoid also goes on increasing, which is nothing but the ampere turns or the MMF divided by the reluctance. Reluctance being L over A into mu naught mu r. So, as mu r goes on increasing, the reluctance decreases, the flux produced for a given ampere turns also goes on increasing. As such, an electromagnet or a solenoid behaves like a permanent magnet. Then we studied the Faraday's law. Whenever the flux linking with the coil changes, there will always be an induced EMF. The flux linking with the coil can change in different possible way. It can be the magnetic field strength may change, direction of the magnetic field may change, position of the circuit may change, shape of the circuit itself may change, and orientation of the circuit may change. All the causes are different, however, the effect is same. The EMF induced E is equal to, this is N d phi by dt according to Faraday's law. According to Lenz's law, the induced EMF always sets up a current to oppose the cause. In that respect, this is associated with or attached with a negative sign to indicate its polarity. With these things in mind, we will go further. We also discussed whenever if this is north pole and this is south pole, and if there are lines of force, if the conductor is placed without moving, the induced EMF is 0. If the conductor is moved this way or that way, the induced EMF is also 0 because there is no change in flux linkage. On the other hand, if the conductor is made to move upward or move downward, there will always be induced EMF. Whenever the conductor is moving at right angles to the field, the EMF induced is maximum, the direction of which can be found out by going for Fleming's right hand rule, where the thumb gives the direction of the motion, direction of the flux, the thumb gives the direction of motion, the middle finger, forefinger gives you the direction of the flux, and the middle finger gives you the direction of the induced EMF. So, in that respect, this is coming out, therefore, the induced EMF is represented by a dot. Even the direction of the conductor is moving upward. On the other hand, if it is moving downward, what will be the direction of the induced EMF? The flux is this way, conductor is moving downwards, therefore the induced EMF is in the opposite direction, or it is into the plane of the paper, and that is represented by a cross. So, with this, if I have a coil or if I have a conductor, the flux linking with the conductor may be in different possible way. The flux linking with the coil or the conductor may happen in different possible ways. In that respect, when the field is stationary, this is stationary, the field is stationary, but the conductor is moving. When the conductor is moving or vice versa, the field may be moving and conductor may be stationary. The EMF induced is called as the dynamically induced EMF. The EMF induced in a conductor or in a coil or in a turn or in a loop or a circuit is when one of them is stationary and the other is moving, it is called as dynamically induced EMF. The other way is also possible. Think of a coil and connect it to a DC source. Think of a switch here. When the switch is closed, the current starts flowing the current will not instantaneously reach its maximum value as in the case of resistance. In case of resistance, if this is the resistance, if the switch is closed, the current instantaneously reaches its maximum value. But that's not the case in case of an inductive circuit. It gradually increases. So in that respect, as the current is increasing, the flux linking with the coil also changes. Therefore, there must be an induced EMF. If this is the applied voltage, there must be an induced EMF. If the switch is opened, the current starts reducing. Therefore, again the flux linking with the coil will be changing. Therefore, there must be an induced EMF. On the other hand, if you go for an AC circuit, this is the coil and this is the AC applied. We will observe here now the current is changing with respect to time. Therefore, the flux produced by the coil is also changing with respect to time, not only in magnitude but also direction. Therefore, as the voltage changes, current also changes, flux linked with this also changes. Therefore, there will be an induced EMF. If the applied voltage is V, and there will be an induced EMF. This according to Faraday's law. Here the EMF induced is in the same coil in which the current is changing. This is what is called as the self-induced EMF. This also self-induced EMF. Here the EMF comes into picture only when the key is opened or closed. However, there will not be any when the key is closed, and if you assume the current is remaining constant, then the EMF induced is nothing but N d phi by dt will be 0. d phi by dt is 0, therefore, the EMF induced is also 0. On the other hand, here in case of AC circuit, there will always be self-induced EMF as and when the coil is excited. In this is what is called as self-induced EMF, and here you can see the coil is stationary and therefore there is no moving part at all. Therefore, it is called as statically induced EMF. One is dynamically induced EMF and the other is statically induced EMF. In this statically induced EMF, it can be self-induced EMF, and at the same time it can be what is called as mutually induced EMF also. Let us say I have a coil here connected to an AC source. Obviously, the current is varying, the flux is also varying. If at all I have a coil here and I connect a voltmeter here, there is no flux linkage between the two, therefore, the voltmeter will be reading 0. However, when you bring this coil very close to this one, so that the flux produced by this coil is linking with this coil, therefore, there will be an induced EMF in the second coil. This induced EMF is called as the mutually induced EMF. One is statically induced EMF, so dynamically induced EMF, the other is statically induced EMF. Under statically induced EMF, you have self-induced EMF and mutually induced EMF. What will be the magnitude of the induced EMF? In that respect, consider this. If this is north pole and this is south pole, I have a conductor of length L, this is L. Consider this distance to be dx. If the conductor, the field is obviously here, this is the flux of strength, the magnetic strength is, field strength is B. The EMF induced in the conductor will be equal to N d phi by dt. Since I have considered only one conductor, I can take it as N as equal to 1. What is if I move the conductor from this place to this place or this position to this position in time dt, what will be the induced EMF? In that case, it is the change in flux linkage which can be written as equal to V into the area covered in this distance dx, and that's nothing but equal to dx into L. That will give you d phi, and this is nothing but dt. So this is same as equal to, as x L is a constant, we can write this one as BL. Dx by dt is nothing but the velocity with which the conductor is moving. Thereby, when the conductor is moving at right angles to the lines of force, the EMF induced is BLV. However, when the same conductor is moving at an angle theta, this is the lines of force. If the conductor is moving this way, what will be the induced EMF? This is the velocity with which the conductor is moving, and this is theta. The velocity can be resolved into two components. One component is along this one. This is nothing but v cos theta, and the other component is nothing but this one. This is same as this one. This is nothing but v sin theta. The component which is along the lines of force will not induce or will not lead to any induced EMF. Only the component which is perpendicular to the lines of force is responsible in inducing the EMF. Therefore, the voltage induced in a conductor moving at an angle theta will be equal to BLV sin theta. So, with this in mind, we will go for the self-induced EMF. This is the, say if this is the applied voltage, there will be self-induced EMF E. Say the nature of this one will always be such that it opposes this. If this is positive at this instant, this must also be positive negative to oppose the cos. And E is equal to, this is N d phi by dt. As such, the conductor which when carried the same current, for example I, was producing flux, and that was not causing much induced EMF in the conductor. It is almost zero. However, when it is coiled like this, it has acquired certain property which leads to an induced EMF, and that to pose that property or to consider that property, the induced EMF is considered in terms of that. In that respect, if the change in current, that is nothing but di by dt is more, the induced EMF must also be more. It is as good as when di by dt is more, d phi by dt is also more. Therefore, the induced EMF is also more. Therefore, the EMF induced is proportional to di by dt. Or it is taken as equal to L di by dt, where L is called the self-inductance or generally called as the inductance. So, it is the property which was obtained by coiling the conductor into such a coil. So, with that, when the induced EMF is same and represented in different possible way, these two must be the same. In that respect, N d phi by dt is equal to L di by dt, or L is equal to, this gets cancelled, this will be equal to N d phi by di is the inductance. Often when there is a linear relation between the current and the flux, if the flux produced is proportional to the current, then you can write this one as equal to d phi by di can be written as equal to phi by I. In that respect, it is phi n phi by I. That is nothing but flux linkage over current is nothing but the inductance. With this in mind, the unit of inductance is Henry. As Henry is considerably a larger quantity, many a times it is expressed in millihenry or microhenry as the case may be. What will be the expression for the inductance in terms of the parameters of the coil? Often the inductor, the coil is called as an inductor. It is also called as a reactor, sometimes choke coil, just coil, all represents a coil which is having sufficient amount of inductance. However, the coil is not free from resistance, because every conductor will have some amount of resistance. Therefore, every coil will be associated with resistance. In that respect, it can be represented by resistance and inductance like this. What will be the expression for the inductance? It can be considered, let us say I have a coil. This is X, this is Y, this is Z. There is no need to go for X, Y, Z. It can be derived without considering that also. Let us say I have a coil here of length say L. The cross sectional area is A. The same thing I have shown here. It can be seen. It is this the figure. Now this is nothing but N phi by I. This is N. Flux is nothing but, this is nothing but ampere turns divided by the reluctance. Ampere turns is nothing but N into I. There are N number of turns. The current flowing through that is I divided by the, this is as usual, this I. S is nothing but L, area over which flux is flowing, length over which flux is flowing, divided by A mu naught mu r, where A is the area over which flux is flowing. That's nothing but this one. The flux gets concentrated over here. The length of the flux path is taken as the L, and this can be written as equal to I get cancelled. You will be left with now A mu naught mu r N square by L. So this is nothing but the value of inductance. You will observe it is independent of the current flow. As the mu r goes on increasing, obviously the inductance also increases. As the area increases, inductance increases. As the number of turns increases, the inductance increases as the square of that. As the length increases, however, the inductance decreases. These are the different possible way you can change the inductance. What is the energy stored in the inductor? As such, whenever a resistance is connected across this, there is conversion of energy taking place. However, such conversion of energy doesn't take place in case of the inductor. In that respect, let us say I have a coil, and let us assume the current increases from 0 to I amperes in time say t. Then what will be the energy input at any stage? To set up an induced EMF here, there must be work done. The work done must be supplied by the source. In that case, the energy is supplied over a period of dt, the time in tt. It is E into I into dt. So this will be equal to, what's the total energy? That will be equal to E into, E is nothing, W is equal to, W is nothing but the energy, E is nothing but L di by dt into dt, the limit being 0 to t. As dt get cancels, you will left with, it is di into I is there. This now the variable is I, therefore it will be 0 to I. If you simplify, if you reduce this one, or if you integrate this, it works out to half Li square. The energy stored in an inductor is half Li square, and the unit is nothing but joule. So it will not dissipate any energy. Of course, all this can be proved also. However, because of the shortage of time, I will not go for all those things. I will just give you an example, something like this. It acts as a sponge. Say assume I have a trough of water, take some quantity of sponge, immerse in that. The sponge absorbs water. When it is taken out and squeeze it, it will give out. In the sense, the consumption of water by the sponge is 0. In the same way here now, it takes some energy, retains in the magnetic field. However, when the switch is opened, it will be given back. If it is DC. If it is AC, there will always be during 1/4 period of the cycle it receives power, in the other quarter cycle it gives back the power. Therefore, the power consumed or energy consumed by inductor is 0. With this, when it comes to the mutual inductance, this is a core material, or it can be a former. This is a former. Former is nothing but a bobbin. Bobbin is nothing but something like this. So it can be wound here. On such a former or a base, the coil has been wound. When this is connected to a source, obviously it produces flux. The flux produced may be, say, something like this. This is nothing but the flux produced. Obviously, there will be a self-induced EMF E. If at all I provide one more coil on this, then there will be an induced EMF here. In that respect, it is called as the mutually induced EMF. This mutual, if all the flux produced by the primary is linking with the second, or if all the flux produced by this is linking with this one, then what will be this induced EMF? This, if I have N1 here and N2 turns here, here it is nothing but E is equal to self-induced EMF is equal to N1 into d phi by dt. This is N1. On the other hand, the EMF induced, the mutually induced EMF is nothing but equal to N2 into d phi 1 by dt. That is a induced EMF. There is an induced EMF in this one in terms of this. However, there must say when these two are linked together or connected together, they are generally called as coupled coils or mutually coupled coils. Like inductance, you will come across the mutually, the characteristic of the quantifying the voltage induced in this one, generally the mutual inductance and the coefficient of coupling is used. When it comes to the mutually induced or mutual inductance, what is that? So, the mutual EMF induced due to mutual inductance can be taken as equal to, that is nothing but M, the mutual inductance like L, into dI1 by dt will give you that. Since these two are equal, you can write this one, N2 d phi 1 by dt is equal to M into di by dt. These two get cancelled. With that, M will be equal to, the mutual inductance will be equal to N2 into d phi 1 by di1. If there is a linear relation between the two, this can be written as equal to N2 phi 1 by I1. If this is open circuited and this is connected, then a similar situation also exists, where in which M can be taken as equal to, this will be N1 into phi 2 by I2. It is this. In that respect, when there is a linkage between the two, there is a mutual inductance. I will call this one as a M12 or M21 as the case may be. Similarly, from here to here, there is a mutual inductance also. There is a linkage here. Now, if I call it as a M21, then what will be the magnitude of M12 and what will be the magnitude of M21? In order to understand, here I have considered EMF induced in the first coil due to the second coil, N1. EMF induced first coil means the number of the flux linking with the coil is N1 and flux established by the second coil is phi 2. All the flux produced by the second coil is linking with the first coil. In that case, d phi 2 by dt, and in terms of mutual inductance, you can write it as M12 into di2 by dt. So, when you write M12, M12 can be written as equal to N1 d phi 2 by I2. If there is a linear motion, it can be taken as I2 by phi 2 by I2, and phi 2 is nothing but N2 I2 by S2. This is nothing but ampere turns divided by reluctance. So, that is what I have written. So, in that case it works out to be N1 N2 over S2. EMF induced in the second coil because of the flux in the first coil will also work out to be N2 phi1 by I1, which when simplified results into N1 N2 over S1, where S1 is the reluctance offered to the flux produced by the first coil and S2 is the reluctance offered to the flux produced by the second coil. As you can observe here now, the magnetic circuit or the path of the flux is same for both the fluxes. S1 is equal to S2. When S1 is equal to S2, this works out to, this is M12 will be equal to N1 N2 by S. If I call it as S1 is equal to S2 is equal to S, and M21 will be equal to N1 N2 divided by S, which indicates that the mutual inductance is same whether you consider irrespective of the coils you consider, the mutual inductance between them is same. So, in practice all the flux produced by the first coil may not link with the second coil. In that case, what is that? Before that, now when the mutual inductance is same between the two coils, there is no necessity to write it as M12 or M21, you can just consider it as M1 M2. With that, you will observe M square will be equal to N1 N2 by S into N1 N2 by S, or the same, it works out to the same thing. However, I will write it in terms of this. The first one is nothing but I will go for this one, N1 phi 2 by I2 into N2 phi 1 by I1. This can be written as equal to N1 into phi 1 by I1 into N2 into phi 2 by I2. As such, this is nothing but L1, while this is nothing but L2. This is, therefore, M is equal to root of L1 L2. That means the mutual inductance in terms of self inductance is the square root of L1 and L2. So, that is the relation between the mutual inductance and the self inductances. If at all if all the flux produced by this coil is not linking with this coil, then what is to be done? Assume phi 1 is the flux produced by the first coil and linking with the second coil is only phi 1 into K1, where phi 1 K1 is a constant which is less than 1. In that case, K1 will be equal to the flux linking between the two coils, I will call it as a phi 1 2 divided by the total flux produced by this coil, that is nothing but phi 1. This will always be less than 1. Similarly, K2 can be taken as equal to phi 2 1 divided by phi 2, this will also be less than 1. Say where all we have this phi 2 replaced by K into phi 2, where all we have this K1 replaced with K1 phi 1, then this equation results into, this is K2, this is K1. So, with that this works out to K1 K2 M is equal to root of K1 K2 into this, or it is K into root of K1 L1 L2. When all the flux produced by the primary is not linking with the secondary, then this is the relation where K is called as the coefficient of coupling. It is always less than 1. If all the flux produced by this links with this one, then K is 1. If the flux produced by this is not linking with this, then it is said to, it will be 0. However, when the flux produced is less, it is generally when the flux produced by this is all the flux produced by this is linking with this one, it is said to be tightly coupled. When the flux produced by this is much of the flux is not linking with this, then it is called as loosely coupled. The different situation will lead to different values of K. In that respect, you can see here. The coils are, in this case, the coils are wound one above the other. Therefore, most of the flux produced by the first coil links with the second coil. The same thing is also true in this case. However, in this case, in this case you can see here now the flux produced by this coil is not linking with this coil because it is not passing through the coil internal or the core of the coil. Therefore, the flux linkage is 0 or the 0 coupling is there or coefficient of coupling is 0, while it is almost 1 between the in this as well as in this also. These are the two conductors or two circuits. This is the flux linking with this. Assuming the medium between the two is air, call it as say M1. The same, but I will place it at a distance apart. Obviously, the flux linking with this coil is less. Now, M1, M2, if I call this one as the mutual inductance between the two, it will be less than M1. As the distance goes on increasing, the flux linkage also goes on decreasing or the coefficient of coupling goes on getting reduced. So, with these things in mind, so that is what these are the details what I have just explained. What are the applications of electromagnetic induction? It is used in generators, transformers. Say generators converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. Transformers are used to transfer energy from say generating station to the place of consumption. So, when it is being done, it is generally done at high voltage. To increase the generated voltage to a higher value, transformers are used. And at the same time, to use the appliances at reduced voltage, transformers are used to step down the voltage also. Inductors are used as filters, energy storage devices in switch mode power supply. Say switch mode power supply is generally used in computers. It is used as current limiting devices in electrical transmission system. In fluorescent tubes, it is used to induce high voltage to cause an arc. Then it is used in case of spark plugs. The coils are used to cause a high voltage and to cause a spark to ignite the petrol in case of petrol engines. Then eddy current which is the result of electromagnetic induction is used for heating, melting and hardening the metal, to detect the defects in a variety of metallic materials, detect whether the metal is heat treated or not, as eddy currents are affected by electrical conductivity and magnetic permeability of the material. That means eddy currents are used for this purpose. Apart from that, it is used to measure the thickness of the material, non-conducting coatings like paints on conducting material, detect corrosion damage on the skins of the aircraft, erosion and other damages that cause thinning of the material, to sort out material whether it is magnetic or non-magnetic. Induction welding is a form of welding that uses electromagnetic induction to heat the workpiece. Induction sealing, or it is also called as cap sealing, is a non-contact method of heating a metallic disc to hermetically seal the top of plastic and glass containers. It is used in pharmaceutical. The field of application is pharmaceutical, food, dairy, beverage, etc. Then electromagnetic foaming, that is nothing but magnet forming to rapidly reshape metal parts. And transcranial magnetic simulation, that is nothing but TMS, is used in invasive treatment of host of disorders including depression, mineral exploration, groundwater contamination, saltwater intrusion, mapping geology and soil, locating buried objects, pipes, barrels, tanks, walls, etc., archaeology, locating frozen permafrost. It is nothing but a thick subsurface layer of soil that remains below freezing point throughout the year, occurring chiefly in polar regions, locating gravel, locating cavities, etc., wireless charging. So, for all this, electromagnetic induction is used. The list is quite endless, however, it is limited to I have given only the limited number of applications. With this, what will be the effect of a conductor carrying current and placed in the magnetic field? So, this northern pole. So, as such we know when there is a magnetic field plus motion leads to an induced EMF and further induced current. On the other hand, we have field and say, let us say we have a current in the conductor, then what must be the result? This the force, this the field, this the motion or the force. So, there must be a force developed on the conductor. In that respect, as you are aware, any charge placed in the magnetic field experiences a force. So, this is what is called as the Lorentz force. As the charges cannot escape from the conductor, all the force will be transferred to the conductor itself and the conductor starts moving. So, that is the effect of that. In that respect, when the conductor is placed in the magnetic field, I have not yet connected a source here, the conductor remains stationary. However, when it is connected to a source like this, a current starts flowing, it is coming this way. Now, it experiences a force. What is the direction of the force experience? It can be determined by Fleming's left hand rule, where the forefinger gives the direction of the flux, this gives you, the middle finger gives you the direction of the current, and thumb gives you the direction of the motion. So, with that, in this case, this is like this, the current is coming out, therefore, the motion is upward. The conductor tries to move upward. Why it moves upward? Generally, it is given with reference to this example or this explanation. When I have the north pole and south pole, the field is this way, the conductor is there and is not carrying any current. When it carries current, obviously it produces flux. If the current carried is, say, going into the plane of the paper, then this will be the field. It produces the flux this way. Now, what happens? There is main field flux, there is flux produced by the conductor also. Obviously, this flux is in the same direction of this one, while here it is in the opposite direction. Therefore, the flux here gets increased while flux here gets reduced, and the resultant field may be something like this. It is coming out, it is this way, or you can take it as this way, cross. Now, here the flux gets crowded here like this, and the flux here will be less. Now, what happens now? These lines of force can be thought of elastic bands which are in stressed condition. Obviously, they tries to whenever we take out a rubber band and try to pull it out, the rubber band will always act to retain its original length. In that respect, this also acts in the same way. In that respect, this exerts a force which will be made to move downward. Now, look at this, it is this way. Now, the current is going into the plane of the paper, therefore, the conductor should move downward. So, that is the result. This is how it is explained, and since this expression, since the conductor moves with respect to the explanations that is given, whatever that has been stated is assumed to be the correct one also. The same thing I have shown here. This is the conductor. That is what I said, it is going upward, the left hand shown, and the force produced will depend upon the field. If the field strength increases, the force also increases. If the current increases, the force also increases. If the length of the conductor also increases, the force also increases. So, thereby the force is generally taken to be equal to V into I into L. So, that is the force, this will be the Newton. So, this principle is used in case of motors, where it will convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. With these things in mind, we will go for few problems. And when it comes to the applications of this Lorentz force, or the force experienced by a conductor placed in the magnetic field, is something like this. Lorentz force plays a key role in electrical impedance, tomography, hydrophone, etc. It is also the basic principle utilized to develop torque in case of electric motors. A conductor 200 millimeter long moves at a constant speed 2 meter per second through a uniform magnetic field of flux density 1.2 Tesla. What current will flow in the conductor if its ends are open circuited, if its ends are connected to a 10 ohm resistor? This is the conductor. If the ends are open circuited, means it is not connected to any external source. The EMF induced is nothing but equal to BLV, where B is nothing but 1.2 Tesla. Length of the conductor is 200 millimeter long. 200 means 200 into 10 to the power minus 3 to convert millimeter into meter, and the constant speed is, that is nothing but 2 meters. Therefore, the induced EMF is 0.48 volt. This will come to 0.48 volt. When it is connected to an external resistance of 10 ohm, what will be the current? Obviously, 0.48 divided by 10 will give you 0.048 amperes. A wire of length 50 centimeter moves at right angles to its length at 40 meters per second in a uniform field of density 1 Tesla. Calculate the EMF induced EMF in the conductor when the direction of motion is perpendicular to the field and inclined at 30 degrees to the direction of the field. So, converting the sentences into a sketch will give better idea. There is this is the north pole, this is the south pole, or you can just ignore the other one. This is the flux, this is the conductor is moving perpendicular to the field, that is nothing but this. Therefore, the induced EMF is obviously equal to BLV. If at all I write it in terms of say theta, it will be sin 90. So, here this will be equal to B is now given as 1, this is 1, length of the conductor is 50 centimeter means 0.5 meter, length, the velocity is 40 meters per second, and the voltage is obviously 20 volt. And when it is moving at an angle 30 degrees means what will be the induced EMF. So, replace this one by 30, you will get the voltage as say 10 volts or so, that way. A rectangular coil has 25 turns and an area of 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter square. It is placed in a magnetic field of strength 6.8 into 10 to the power minus 6 Tesla. Calculate the flux linkages when the plane of the coil is parallel to the magnetic field, perpendicular to the magnetic field. State the rate of change of flux linkage in each case. A rectangular coil has 25 turns and an area of 22.5 by 2.5 in 10 to the power minus 4. This is nothing but a rectangular coil which has 25 turns, and the area is nothing but this, the total area is nothing but 2.5 in 10 to the power minus 4. It is placed in a magnetic field of strength 6.8, B is nothing but 6.8 into 10 to the power minus 6 Tesla. Calculate the flux linkage when the plane of the coil is parallel to the magnetic field. That means, if this is the magnetic field plane is nothing but this one. When the plane of the field is parallel to the field. So that means if these are the lines of force, or if this is the lines of force and this is the field, this is the plane of the coil which is parallel to the magnetic field. So that will be, it will be something like this. Obviously, as it moves this way, you will observe it is cutting maximum flux, the flux linkage will be maximum. Calculate the flux linkage, then perpendicular to the magnetic field. Perpendicular to the magnetic field means these are the lines of force and the field is this way. State the rate of change of flux in each case. So in that case, the flux, when the plane of the coil is parallel to the magnetic field, no flux passes through the coil, therefore the flux linkage is 0 or the EMF induced is maximum. When the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the magnetic field, flux passes through the coil at right angles to the plane, therefore the flux linkage will be equal to N phi NBA. Phi is nothing but B into A. So when you substitute, you will get it as 42.5 into 10 to the power of minus 9. Rate of change of flux linkage is maximum in case A, that is nothing but in this case because the EMF induced is maximum, while in the other case it is 0. A square coil of 10 centimeter side with 100 turns is rotated at a uniform speed of 1000 rpm about an axis at right angles to a uniform field having a flux density of 0.5 Tesla. Calculate the instantaneous value of the induced EMF when the plane of the coil is at right angles to the field at 30 degrees to the field and C in the plane of the field. Here this is the coil, and this coil is now, I will just represent it this way. I will take this one and this one. This portion is connected here. That is what I will show that here now. And the plane is nothing but this is the plane. So in that case, you can have a look at this. Now this is the first case. The first case is nothing but at right angle, when the plane of the coil is at right angles to the field. This is the coil. The plane is, this is perpendicular to the field. So what is the induced EMF? As you can see here now, this is the velocity component, it is moving this way, it is parallel to the field, therefore the angle between the field and the velocity is 0. Therefore theta is equal to 0, the induced EMF is obviously equal to 0. That is nothing but the theta is 0, therefore it will be 0. When it comes to the calculation, anyhow, here the conductor is rotating, is this way it is rotating. Therefore, what is the velocity with which the conductor is moving? In order to understand that, you can see here now a square coil of 10 centimeter side with 100 turns, 10 centimeter side. This is nothing but the 10 centimeter. It is moving at a velocity, at a speed of 1000 rpm. Therefore, the velocity with which the conductor is moving will be equal to pi dn by 60. When it is substituted, that is nothing but pi, the diameter being 0.1 centimeter, that is nothing but, this is nothing but 10 centimeter or 0.1 meter into 1000 divided by 60 will give you 5.23 meter. The EMF induced is nothing but this B is equal to BLV sin theta. Since the coil is having two sides, the number of turns will be double the number of turns that are given in the coil. The number of turns given is 100 turn coil, therefore there are 200 conductors, 100 conductors here, 100 conductors here, that becomes, that is nothing but 2n. So when substituted, 2 into, that is nothing but this, number of turn is 100, this is 100, then 0.5 is the flux density, length of the conductor is 0.1 meter, it is a square coil, this distance is same as that distance, into the velocity into sin 0 will give that. When it comes to the second case, when the plane of the coil is at 30 degrees to the field, so you can see here now, this being the field and this is the plane of the field, this is 30 degrees. Obviously, this is 60 degrees, the component, velocity component which is responsible in inducing the EMF is V sin 60, it is not 30 but it is sin 60. When it is substituted, you will get it as 45.3 volt. In the third case, when the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the field, the angle is obviously 90 degrees. So, when it is substituted as 90 degrees, you will get it as 52.3. There are some more problems. So, I will teach that one in some other class. For the time being, I will be concluding my session. From tomorrow onwards, Dr. Vidya from Global Institute of Technology will be continuing with DC machines. Thank you.